Hello and welcome back to Two Cups Between. I'm Jordan, here with my best friend Sam.
Hi.
Hi Sam, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. It's been a very normal week. a little like stay up all night drawing stuff and then spend the next day being a sleepy girl.
Yeah,
You know
okay.
what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Very summer vacation vibes over here.
Yeah, very summer vacation.
Like I can imagine just from like I don't know, the just stuff that I'm picking up on and conversations to be had on the
Mm-hmm.
internet these days, and just like hearing stuff from people. I feel
Yeah.
like maybe the fact that I'm not interacting with anyone is probably why I don't feel very intense right now, as cancer season would
Uh-huh.
normally,
Right.
cause. Instead, I'm kind of just like having a little water sign moment, like doing stuff very lazily and slowly, and yeah, being very relaxed about stuff that I have to do, which is nice. Um, I'm trying to revel in it until
Yep.
I'm not able to do that anymore.
Yeah.
Like whenever I get weird about like, oh my god, I slept for like way too long last night, like it just like automatically happens to me because I'm not normally someone who sleeps a lot. So when
Mm-hmm.
I do, I'm kind of like, I don't know, it's just very off-putting. But
Yeah.
I've been trying to practice like, hey, you tend to only sleep maybe 4 hours or something, and I average. And it's good to sleep for 12 hours sometimes. Sometimes you really need to. Like, sometimes
It's
you
true.
literally need to go to bed at 8 p.m. and wake up at like fucking 10:30. And
Yes.
that's fine.
Sometimes you do.
Sometimes we need that rest.
Mm-hmm.
Like it sounds very simple, but it's something that's very hard for me, to be honest. But yeah, so I've just been doing that.
Good.
you know.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's kind of the
Good.
vibe.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, I will say every day that I've been off lately, we've been working.
Mm.
So I know that like your creativity is flowing and mine is, and like we're dreaming and we have all these big
And we're like
ideas and things.
conceptualizing stuff,
Yeah.
you
So it
know.
like also is a little bit like hyping. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, like
thinking about it
inspiring.
makes me, yeah, it's super inspiring, but in a way that like makes me energized. I feel fucking jazzed when we
Yeah.
finish our conversations.
Mm.
So I get the like not sleeping and then sleeping for a really long time, like that,
Yeah.
like that quote unquote balance right now.
Right.
I
Like
can feel it too.
we actually, on the day of this recording, today is the day we release the cancer season playlist
Mm-hmm.
episode. And I
Mm-hmm.
made like a little graphic, because here's the thing. I had this Google Doc of where
Mm-hmm.
I listed out the songs and kind of notes to talk about the themes and things like that, that I sent to Jordan, that I sent to you, to be able to link all the lyrics and music videos in case you wanted to
Right.
watch them. So I like, I showed that to you and I was like, I think you suggested that we share it. Did you suggest that?
Yes, I did.
Sometimes we come up with ideas and like I don't even know who did what,
Exactly.
to be honest. So I think you suggested that I share it and I'm like, "Oh, in this state, like this is just a Google Doc that I like did not
That
give a
would have
fuck
been
about."
okay with
Yeah.
me to share the
Right.
link
Yeah, yeah,
for the
yeah.
Google
I
Doc.
know. And I know. And I asked you that and you're like, "Yeah, I
Yeah.
think this is fine." And I was like, "Oh." Here's Cuz it's interesting cuz you and I are like collaborating on work together.
Right.
I feel like you have those like very Virgo-y
They're gooey,
yes,
yeah.
Virgo-y, like perfectionist tendencies with like scheduling and planning, all the
Mhm.
regular Virgo stuff, like,
Yeah.
and I get perfectionist about art and aesthetic and like how something looks and like how it appears and
Mhm.
how appealing it looks and
Very Virgo and
you know,
Pisces of us.
formatting, you know,
Yeah.
like even the like formatting of a tweet, like
Yeah. You're
oh
pretty particular about that, which is why I just let you do it.
yeah.
Because I don't do a good job, you know? I'm
Yeah.
like, I am
It's just
not
like
good at that.
right. I just like that's the stuff that I think about, you know?
Hmm. Yeah.
So for me, I was like, no, I need to make something like cute for this and
Hmm.
for sharing it.
Yeah.
And I
The
didn't
graphic
plan
is
to
really good.
I
No,
did
it
not
is
plan
really
to go
good.
out all out at
You
all. I
did
was like,
though, and I
even
loved it.
I was like, I could just make something really simple. You know, just like have like some background and like little squares for sections and stuff. I thought it was gonna be super
Yeah.
simple. But for some reason, whenever I started working on it, I was like, oh, there's like so much I can do, you know, to make this like, you know, cute and aesthetically pleasing and stuff. And I was playing
Yeah.
around and I was like, oh, this is like turning into something.
It's
And
very
then it
cool.
was and then it was 5 a.m.
And then it was
So
5 a.m. 5 a.m.
yeah. And I send it to you. Um I kind of like okay, I kind of like go to bed,
Hmm.
but with my laptop still messing with it.
Yeah.
So now I'm like lounging and
Hmm.
about to like go to sleep, but I kind of like finish it and then send it to you.
Yeah.
Um which you probably thought that I had just woken up,
I
but in
did. I thought you
reality,
had just woken up, but you hadn't gone to sleep yet.
right. Yeah. That's what happened. It was very good. I mean, I enjoy I enjoy this every once in a while of like
Yeah.
staying up all night because you're like really inspired
Yeah.
or you just like get the energy suddenly to get stuff done.
Right.
It's giving mania. I understand. Like for everyone who's already thinking of it. Yes, accurate. That is that. Okay, I'm not shying away from it or like trying to call this something else. You know.
Hmm.
Um. Yeah. But like, here's the
Wow.
thing. I was messaging my friend this actually because they sent me a meme about like hyping yourself up during a manic episode at 3
At
a.m.
3 a.m.
in the mirror, which is
Hmm.
so like it's so real though. This is so real because you do mania is literally like you're kind of euphoric, you know.
Hmm.
Obviously it has dangerous side effects. Okay. I don't know why I'm giving so many disclaimers. Like I'm not trying to make it seem like this is some cute thing.
Hmm.
You know, mental illness is very cute these days.
Yikes.
So,
Please.
yeah, that's not what this is, but you know, you navigate life with that,
Hmm.
with these every once in a while manic episodes. And like, yeah, sometimes I will use that like burst of energy instead of doing something like fucking crime and you know, impulsive shopping
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
those sorts of things. You know, I'll just like work on a little art project all night or like clean my fucking bathroom
Hmm.
until the sun rises. And then I have the energy out and it's fine. So yeah, like that's kind of the week I'm having. But now I'm coming down, I'm like kind of going to bed at a normal time, I hope. Probably when we get off this call, I'll get off and
Hmm.
just actually go to bed at a normal time before midnight. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Before midnight.
I think so. I think I can sleep. I think it's time, you know,
Hmm.
that I'll sleep before midnight. Yesterday I went to bed maybe at like 1. It's not
That's pretty good.
that bad. Yeah, it's not that bad.
I think that's about when I went to bed too.
Yeah.
But I
Like I have a very interesting relationship with sleep. You know this. We've known each other
I
for a
do.
very long time.
Yeah.
But
I know
yeah.
you do. I've been having a weird time sleeping as well.
Yeah.
Mostly just because I've been having really vivid dreams. I
Oh
sent
yeah.
Sam like a 5-minute voice note the other morning about
And
this
that
dream that
dream?
I had. Wasn't
Whoa.
it? It was like lit. Like,
It was very
it was wild.
it was very good. I
Yeah. It
enjoyed it.
should have been scary, except I'd had the dream before,
Um
so I knew what was going to happen next. but
Right.
it wasn't. It was giving submarine, you know?
Oh. Wow.
No, I'm just
So,
kidding. I'm just kidding. It was just wild, and I've been having a lot of very vivid dreams. But
are you
I
not going
have
to tell the
been.
dream? Are you not
Oh,
going to
do you
tell?
want me to tell the dream?
I mean, if you
Sorry, I
want
was
to,
just
I
gonna
don't.
not to. I was just gonna not
No,
say it.
I don't know if you feel like it's too weird to share, but like
Oh, I
I
don't
think
think
it's
it's
great.
that weird. I'll just give like a vague summary of
Okay.
this dream. So oh my god. So this dream I have had before where um this one started differently. I was crossing a bridge to go home, but the bridge is actually like, you know, when you play a Mario platformer or any kind of platformer game where you have to jump from platforms, but as soon as you touch them, they blink away. So, like, you've got to keep jumping.
Right.
It was one of those bridges.
Okay.
But when you
Wait, I don't.
fall,
Did you mention this part
I did.
in
I
the
did.
voice note?
Yeah. But when you, like, if you fell as me, like, you just get
Mm.
transported back to the side of the bridge you started on. It wasn't like
Oh,
you were
this
going to
is
die. It was just
yeah,
like, it was literally like a video game. Like,
yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, I've definitely
um,
had dreams that look like video games after like
yeah.
playing them for a long, or like
Mm-hmm.
extended time or watching someone. Yeah,
Exactly.
that
I
definitely
hadn't been
happens.
playing any video games. I haven't played a platformer in ages,
Mm,
but it was just really weird that this was part of my dream. Like, I was just trying to get home. I was literally in this like super futuristic city going from the very rich side of the city. It was like New York, but not New York. I was going from the
right.
rich side of the city where I think I worked to the poor side of the city where I lived. Classic. Um but I was going to like do this jump again and I just missed the platform completely. And instead of falling and going like reappearing on the side of the bridge I started on, I just kept falling into water.
Oh
And then
yeah.
I was at the bottom of the
Ugh.
ocean.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a big deal. Breathing, all
Yeah.
fine.
Not Ocean Gate.
But yeah, not not submarine gate at all.
Yeah.
It was fine. Um but I realized at that point that I had a little girl with me who was my daughter. She was very cute. She was very cute. I'm
Yeah.
kind of obsessed with her still in my brain. Been thinking about her a lot.
Yeah.
um
Dream daughter.
yeah, my dream daughter. I had
Yeah.
her with me. So I was like, "Oh, okay, we've got to go and like find someone who can help us get home." So I am swimming around, which is normal. There are other people swimming around. I know all these people. It's truly no big deal.
Yeah.
And we end up in a ballroom where I had been before. And we're dressed appropriately all of a sudden. Like we had been wearing civilian clothes, casual clothes, I
Mm.
guess.
Mhm, mhm.
And then we're dressed in ball gowns.
Right.
And the receptionist greets us. She knows who I am. I know who she is. And then, like, I look over and make eye contact with this man who I don't know who this man is. I've never seen him before in my waking life.
Mm.
But it was like infatuation at first sight or love at first sight or
Mhm,
something. And
mhm,
like
mhm, mhm.
it was so funny though. I forgot. I just remembered this part. The receptionist put some eardrops in my daughter's ear and she
Yes.
fell
When you
asleep.
this was I was like, "What?"
Yeah, she like went to sleep
Yeah.
because there was a place where like kids could sleep. It wasn't like there weren't other kids in there, but like
Yeah, yeah,
that's what you
yeah.
did when you came to this. If
Which
you
is
had to bring your
so
kids, they
I
gave
don't
them the
know.
eardrops and you put them
Why
in
does
that
it give
room.
me like it gives me like Hunger Games-ish, like
I know,
Black
it's kind of weird,
Mirror-ish.
right? Like a little bit
Yeah.
dystopian,
Yeah.
very
But
strange.
yeah. Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So that had happened. Then this man and he was definitely like Indian, Southeast Asian. We were walking around just holding hands like immediately.
Oh, but that's
And
marriage. I'm just
I
kidding.
know that's
Sorry.
marriage. Right. So his family is there. He has an older brother and his mom and dad are there.
Yeah.
And I go
Yeah.
and I meet them.
And they asked you where
And
you got your bachelor's and
yeah.
master's degrees.
They were immediately judging me. They were like already like, oh, you're not good enough for him, blah, 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 blah. It was just like this whole thing. But
Yeah.
as we were having this conversation, my daughter wakes up, she comes and finds me, we're together, it's fine. But the
Right.
ceiling of the ballroom is glass and it's no big deal, but we're underwater and the
Yeah.
ceiling breaks.
Fish tank. Yeah. Well, I
It's
guess.
very fish tank.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ceiling breaks and the water starts pouring in, and like we all try to go to this other room where there's like a garage or something. It looked literally in my dream, in my brain right now, it looks like an
Yeah.
airplane hangar kind of room. The ceiling breaks
yeah.
there too. And then like whereas we had been fine before and breathing and talking underwater, this time it's like a huge deal that the ceiling is broken and
Right.
we have to get to the surface as fast as possible. But someone in like the people who were gathered in the ballroom that I was in had these like teleportation powers. So we ended up, much higher in the water column with no ill effects, no bends here. And we made it, like we broke the surface and I woke up and there were whales. That was like a very brief moment of whales.
Wait,
and then
okay. So here's
Mhm.
the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you also think that this was an Atlantean past life dream? Okay.
Okay.
It's
I didn't
really
want to say it.
What do you listen?
I didn't want to say it.
Because, bro, this is not a regular dream, Jordan.
No, and I've had that dream before, but without a daughter. Like I've had it where I went to this ballroom underwater and the ceiling
it's
broke.
the revisiting,
yeah,
and just like the general nature of this fucking dream.
Very detailed.
And yeah, I'm into it so much.
Yeah,
because here's the thing. I know I'm all I'm hokey and hippie dippy and stuff. Okay, we don't need disclaimers, but for me, like people are like, "Oh, aren't dreams just your subconscious making some shit up?" Yes, it is. Okay, I know when I have dreams where I literally just like go to school and come home and eat a fucking dinner, like it's just a regular dream. Yes, your brain is processing. But then you have dreams like this, and it's like, okay, that was something else. Like,
yeah,
that wasn't like my normal just brain processing a normal thing.
I agree.
So, yeah, that is so sick. I love talking about dreams. And I think a lot of people hate talking about dreams, or they hate when people just like want to talk about their weird dreams. But I always, as Pisces representative, love to talk about fucking weird dreams.
I really like talking about dreams, but I rarely remember them, and I think I just need to start sending you voice notes when I wake up.
Yeah.
I have all kinds of weird dreams.
I used to record voice memos as a dream log, and I listened back to them. These are from like a couple years ago, and I was like, I do not remember this at all.
Yeah,
because the whole thing is that I would wake up. Here's the key. If anyone, because we've gotten into discussions, like in Twitch chats and stuff like this about dreams, and people are like, I never remember my dreams, like, and people ask how to remember them more. And people also ask about lucid dreaming, because I used to be super into this stuff. Of course I was fucking into this stuff. Okay.
This is very on brand for you.
Yeah, this is very much my brand. It's kind of my lane, So, like, one of the things you really have to do if you want to remember your dreams more, you gotta stop looking at your phone when you wake up.
Yeah.
Like that like
immediately
time,
starting to scroll. Yeah.
Yeah, when you're just waking up and your brain waves are changing from, don't quote me, we haven't talked about that in med school yet. It's like delta to theta. Don't come at me. I wasn't prepared for this. But anyway, but your brain waves are changing. Yeah. They're still changing as you wake up. Like from the moment you actually open your eyes, you have to like kind of gradually get up. And like that can be hard if you also are a person that like wakes up to an alarm and you have to like get up immediately.
Right.
If you're trying to like, if you think that you never have dreams or you never remember your dreams, something that helps is like having some time to like not get up too quickly and not look at your phone and not get distracted by something right away, but just like sit, lay in bed and like think about what your past dream was. Because usually you wake up from a dream, you forget it minutes later.
Yeah, but if you try to think about it right when you wake up,
yeah,
you can usually remember.
And so I have these voice memos of like me waking up, opening voice memos, and immediately just talking my dream out. And it's like the groggiest, worst morning voice memos because I had just woken up and just sound awful.
I have like the worst morning voice though. You pretty much sound the same when you wake up.
That I do now.
Yeah, you sound very similar.
Really?
I don't think you sound very different. I truly almost have no voice when I wake up. I'm very raspy. I can't.
You sound like death. Like
I do right when I wake up.
And you also seem like you're about to die when you wake up sometimes. Like
it's a little seem like I have emerged from death.
Yeah.
Just moments before.
Yeah.
And I could keel over again.
Or like you're second. About to die right now. Like you're on the brink of death.
Yeah. It's rough.
A little concerning. And sometimes you're like, you haven't done it a ton, but there have been at least a couple times where you're like, hey, can you wake me up at this time? And I'm like, I don't know if I can face you when it's like I try to wake you up.
Oh my god.
Like make sure I'm up by this time, and I'm like, okay, I really just hope you get up because I don't want to deal with waking you up.
The thing is, I'm not like mean when I wake up. That's not me.
No,
I'm just
but you're just
difficult to wake up.
I just feel like I'm I'm burdening you so much by asking you to get up.
Even when I've asked
you could die, like you're gonna die soon. Like I'm very scared. You don't understand.
No. It's fine. It's fine. I'm fine. I'm just sleepy.
Yeah.
But this is probably why I'm sleepy, because this happens all the time. I know I have these dreams all the time and I just don't remember most of them. Right. But I still remember a dream I had when I was 5, because it was that vivid. And I don't think it was a dream. I actually think it was like a multi-dimensional astral projection, if I can be so bold. I literally, it was the most creepy, a little bit horrifying thing to happen to me.
I know the dream that you're talking about too.
Yeah. It was a little bit scary, but this is not the dream episode, just by the way.
Yeah, but I will mention very quickly when I was 6, I did have a dream, and I was my child self in the dream. Like I was 6 years old. And basically, I mean, looking back at it, it was like the apocalypse had happened. It looked like,
oh my god,
just like fucking rubble and shit, right? And I'm 6 years old. Like, where have I seen this? I mean, yes, I will say I'm quite a nerd, and I watched a lot of documentary global politics stuff when I was younger, but not that young. Not like until maybe I was 12. 13. That's when I started getting into that stuff more. So it's kind of like, how would I have been able to really see or visualize what that looks like? Right. And then I was visited by like aliens that were kind of going around and like looking through the rubble, and they like discovered me kind of.
Oh shit.
And spoke to me in Sinhalese.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, I haven't told you about this dream.
No, I've never heard.
Oh my god, no! And they tried to speak to me in Sinhalese, and I said, "Oh, like I speak English, Like I knew that they were trying to greet me in Sinhalese, but I was like, oh, I speak English.
Wow.
And so they asked me how, and I explained that my family is from Sri Lanka, but like we've been living in the U.S. where they speak English, and so I speak English.
Whoa.
And then they started speaking to me in English, and were like asking me about my family and stuff, and I was explaining my family situation to them. Yeah.
Abduction.
It wasn't okay, but it wasn't like it didn't seem like an abduction though.
No.
It seemed like they found me and were investigating. Like they weren't trying to like capture me or anything. It wasn't a scary dream. You know how like sometimes kids like they're so innocent they don't get scared by scary things because like
Yeah,
oh my god,
exactly.
have you seen that video of the someone who has like this very uh dramatic like cosplay of this like spidery monster thing? And they wear it around. They're kind of like a street performer.
Oh
And there was
yeah,
like that
and
little
the
girl
little
that
girl
loved
who
it.
yes, I love
It
that
was
video.
giving that. It was giving that where I'm
She
just
thought
like
it was
to
so
these
cool. She was obsessed
really
with that person.
creepy, tall ass aliens.
Wow.
But I was kind of just like, hey, what's up?
Huh.
To them in the dream.
That's
And
so
like waking up, I
interesting.
didn't feel like scared.
Yeah.
Even though that should have been a really scary dream.
No, that's
for a
cool
6-year-old.
as fuck.
Yeah.
Man, I love dreams.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
We're, talking to the aliens and stuff. Anyway, that's not what this podcast is about.
No.
So
us last week, we're gonna dive right into the astrology at the beginning of the episode. Us this week.
Yeah.
Yo, you remember that dream I had, bro?
Well,
I don't even know why we started talking about this.
yeah. Because we were
Oops.
talking about sleep. I think it's
yeah.
all related. Listen,
It's fine.
I do think my dreams are kind of intense in water seasons in general.
Mm-hmm.
But like
I do notice that I
season,
actually
sure.
do have like bigger, more elaborate dreams in water seasons. I get like a lot more information and clarity in my dreams.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Sure.
It's wild out here, dude.
I think in astrology, people associate the water element with like emotions, which is true, but it's also kind of like your subconscious and stuff.
Yeah.
Definitely
definitely subconscious.
Probably why.
And I do think it's interesting that I revisited this dream as a mother in the season of the mother.
Yeah, I agree. The daughter theme.
Yeah. She was really
very
cute.
Interesting.
I thought for 24 hours that maybe I would like to have one child as long as it was a girl. And then I said, no, thank you.
If you had a dream.
Then I went back.
Yeah. Would you ever like be a solo mom?
That would be probably the only way I'd be a mom. If I'm being honest, trying to parent with someone else would be a nightmare.
Yeah. Right.
It would like literally have to be me and my girl against the world. Agree. You know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah. I kind of agree. I mean,
I just want to be.
Sorry.
I parent.
I feel like it'd be so hard to raise a child with a man, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if I could say that, but it's true.
I think that would be really hard.
Yeah.
I think raising a child
that's just raising two children
partner.
For me.
It is. Whoop.
So
that was a good one. Roast them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's in theory easier to parent with. It's like to raise a child with two parents, but like
in theory, I mean, people say that. I think financially, yeah,
for
sure. So
yeah, but at the same time, like, no. I don't know. It's not,
we don't have to get into it.
No. This is like a whole discussion.
Yeah. I don't know. I do want to get into it, but I was
can do it another time.
I was telling you before we started. I just like feel a lot of petty energy, but like there's nowhere to put it.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah. So we decided like I said, that we're just gonna have a petty venting episode.
Yeah, I think it's needed. I think it'll be healing
for everyone.
Yeah, for everyone involved. Like for the listener, it'll be a little cathartic to hear people complain about stuff.
You can complain with us.
Yeah.
When we do that one. Vent your frustrations to us.
Please.
You can tweet them. Tweet your frustrations at us.
Please. Oh my God, please. I'd love when
we'll
people
empathize.
Tweet their frustrations. Yeah. Wow. We really should get into the astrology though.
We should. There's not a ton going on this week though.
Yeah. It's a very mercurial week, I think.
Yes.
And which is great. Mercury is in Cancer. And this Wednesday, the 5th, It'll have a
Yes.
square with Chiron. Thursday the 6th, it'll have a sextile with Uranus.
Mm-hmm.
And then Sunday, it'll have a trine with Neptune.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of like what's going on. And I
Right.
would say these are some watery placements, especially Mercury and Neptune.
For sure.
And it might be like a spiritually very weird week. You may have weird alien
Yeah.
dreams.
You might.
Honestly, you might have some weird past life regressions.
Yeah.
If you are already like having experiences like that. I don't know if
Yes.
this will just suddenly happen to you if you've never
Right. If you've had them
seen
before,
anything like this. Probably
you're
not.
like,
you might just feel
right.
a little off.
If you're at a certain point in your kind of spiritual development, I guess, even,
yeah,
you'll probably feel this a little bit differently.
Which, many people don't have the luxury to do all that.
Right,
right.
Absolutely.
It's hard, but I do think it's important to do some reflecting on like that kind of stuff. Because
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it doesn't hurt. It really doesn't hurt to like examine what's going on in your dreams. If you're constantly dreaming about work, that is
it's saying something.
That's really telling you that you're burnt out, or that that's the only thing on your mind. People know, like your stress shows up in your dreams, your emotions show up in your dreams. Absolutely. Yes, it is your brain trying to process things. It's not always some spiritual grand message. In fact, it's a very down to earth message about what's going on with you. Right. So like, I don't understand. People, they have meaning. Oh my god, I just really just want to argue with people. You agree with me though?
I'm not even trying to argue with you.
I know, but I just like feel. I feel it
for sure. Yeah, I think
it's important.
This will be a good week if you're at that point, examining your dreams, examine like the tension you feel in your daily life, like with the Mercury square Chiron on Wednesday. I think for people who are less spiritually in tune, I think there's going to be a little bit of tension. Like this is another one of those weeks where like, especially on Wednesday, you might feel a bit more sensitive about your self-confidence, about like the things that you like. If someone like this is, oh God, if someone criticizes you with the square, you're going to be hurt and like sad about it. And like, oh, but it's so interesting. I literally said this to you before we started recording. Like this week is like internalized hurt, insecurity into almost like a motherly empowering like thing. Like your mom comforts you after you got like a comment on your essay that you wrote from your teacher, right? And your teacher was like a little bit meaner to you than they needed to be. And then your mom is comforting you. Like that's kind of what the Mercury sextile Uranus is giving me. Like you're bigger than this comment. You have more to offer, like that kind of thing. And then
go ahead.
And then the Mercury trine Neptune is like pushing past it almost. And this is all in the span of like 4 days. Like like there will be this kind of rejuvenation cycle through the week.
Sure. Yeah, like it's like you really got to be in tune with that stuff. I think the reason I'm emphasizing it so much is that I get it. Like if I'm busy with work, I don't stay in touch with these things, like how I'm feeling. It all kind of just like
daily life is distracting from your bodily intuition.
And like I feel like when I want to talk about stuff like, I like want to tell people to meditate, I want to tell people to like journal and reflect and stuff like that. Like it feels to me, and this is probably just like my own thing, I just like feel like it sounds very privileged to some. And that's why people,
I agree.
Like it's for some people it's just like off-putting to hear advice like that,
for sure,
because and that's what they're feeling, even subconsciously. So like, you have all the time in the world to do that, which is not true. Like I think it's just it's something I like to prioritize a lot.
Right. I think it's sometimes like recommending stuff like that, like me as someone who always recommends journaling and refuses to pick up a notebook and a pen. It is almost like pedantic and super hypocritical of me
Yeah.
because I'm like, yeah, I know I should be journaling. I should like that dream was probably the closest I've got to journaling in months, right? Like I haven't actually put a pen to paper or taken time to reflect on
Mm-hmm.
paper. I do reflect mentally a lot. Like I think about a lot of stuff like
Yeah.
that on my own, but writing it down is just different. But if it sounds hypocritical and like, oh, people always recommend journaling and meditation and
Right.
like blah 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 blah
Yeah.
blah. And it's like those aren't the only things that, can put you more in touch with your own intuition, with like what is actually going on around you and
Yeah.
inside of you, but like they're very helpful. and
Mm-hmm.
and actually fairly simple things to recommend if not in practice. There it's like
Yeah.
actually
I
just prioritizing these two things can help a lot, or
yeah.
one of them.
I think also the fact that like it's influencer media type stuff that has
Yeah.
popularized spiritual
Mm-hmm.
practices.
Right.
Um and which is so, I don't know, it's so unfortunate to be honest,
Yeah.
because there have been teachers talking about spiritual practices before social media, but now
Mm-hmm.
like that younger, more attractive people are doing
Yeah.
it, it
Yeah.
seems very vapid and
Right. It's almost like,
so it really
why would
irks
I
me
listen to these
sometimes. Yeah, like
people?
it really irks me that like I could give the same advice, which is so genuine. I've been meditating for like 10 years,
Right.
you know. Like before all these fucking influencers were kind of taking over and
Mm-hmm.
talking about it, because it's just from my culture, so it's a very normal thing. So I was like, oh,
Right.
maybe I should take that more seriously now that I'm an
Mm-hmm.
adult and like need to
Right.
manage my fucking emotions now.
Mm-hmm.
um so yeah, like, yeah, I think that's why I kind of feel weird giving those suggestions, but like this is really that kind of week
Yeah.
astrologically.
I think
um
so.
I also will say, I want to mention, because you talked about the Mercury sextile Uranus being like a mother comforting you.
Mm-hmm.
Uranus is uh, a very interesting abstract planet that I don't feel like is discussed a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of represents like progression, being very progressive and humanitarian and like
Mm-hmm.
freedom and being very original and
Mm-hmm.
against the norms, um like radical beliefs
Mm-hmm.
that are not of the norm.
Yeah.
And um I saw this clip that I sent. It's from Taste the Nation, Padma Lakshmi's show,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
where I believe she's with a Filipino American woman who has a business making like Filipino food and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And she talked about how when she moved to the States, um and kind of like grew up here, she knew about all these organizations for like diversity and for like Filipino culture. Those kinds of organizations where people are trying to maintain the culture in the States.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, at the time, she's like, why do I don't need to do all that. I know my heritage,
Right.
like
Right.
these things aren't important for me. But then when she had kids in the States, she realized like they go through so much more of an identity crisis than
Yeah.
she dealt with,
Right.
because she had her culture at home. It was very like, she didn't have to worry about it. But now
Mm-hmm.
she's a Filipino American raising American kids
Yeah.
and realizing like, oh, I do have to really put effort into that, because they're not going to see it otherwise. They're not going to see
Mm-hmm.
the culture.
Right.
They're going to have to assimilate. They're going to be made to feel very different,
Mm-hmm.
and deal with those things
Yeah.
growing up without this like guaranteed safety and security in their heritage, because I have to provide that for them as a
Mm-hmm.
mother.
Right.
And yeah, and she said something like, I want to let my kids be weird,
Mm-hmm.
like give them permission to be weird and tell them it's
Right.
okay.
Right.
Which, and that like struck a chord, let me tell you. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, that is so many of us would be much more okay if our parents were okay with us being weird.
I agree.
Do you know?
There's value in being the weirdo kid as long as you are
Yeah.
content with who you are, you know? Like,
Yeah.
and
Like,
growing up,
protect the weird kids.
yeah,
Is
and
kind of
growing
what
up
I'm feeling.
in like a culture that's not suburban white American
Ugh.
is considered weird, even though it's very normal. Like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
encouraging practicing your culture, expressing your culture,
Yeah.
knowing your culture, sharing your culture. Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
And you
Growing up
know,
in white suburbia is like so I think about it so much of like
mhm,
um just like stuff that I dealt with that I mean it seems so far away now. Like it was when I was a
right.
kid and I definitely know better.
Right. But it's very impactful
Yeah.
to be called weird, be like, why do you look like that? Like,
Yeah.
you know, the weird, what are you eating for lunch? Ew. Like, you know, that's like a huge
Right.
impactful time in your life.
But it has
It's hard.
it's hard. It's hard, but it's made me so like it's made it more accessible to be very like okay with myself too. I mean, I'm working
Yeah.
on it. It's not like
Yeah.
100%.
Right.
It's not
Always working on
100%.
it.
But like if you grew up not being approved,
Mm-hmm.
very
Mm-hmm.
much
In
like
any way. In any
yeah,
way.
like you know, you're always kind of just
An other.
rejected. Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yeah. You're an other, and like you deal with rejection kind of just on the daily. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the white privileged people won't understand this, but that's kind of the point. That's kind of what I'm getting at, actually.
I think it's
Um,
like a conventional beauty privilege as well. Not
yeah, it's
even
like
just,
there's so many. I mean, there's so many
yeah, so many
things.
different things that, you know,
Yeah,
lots of people can identify with this in whatever way,
right.
in a
Um,
lot of different ways. But
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
oof.
But yeah,
Yeah, this is,
yeah.
I think, a little bit of a tender week in terms
Mm-hmm.
of it feels very inner child. Like we keep going back to talking about when we were
Well,
little. Like,
yeah, inner child is very in right now, astrologically.
yeah, this is a lot of like uh
Taurus
inner
being in
child.
Uranus.
Yeah.
Sorry, Uranus being in Taurus. Taurus is the
Mm-hmm.
toddler. Um, I always think
I mean,
about it
Chiron
like,
and Aries also,
yeah, yeah,
but
definitely.
Uranus and Taurus.
Chiron is definitely about like inner child wounds for sure.
Right. It's
Aries is the
just,
baby, which is like you
mm-hmm.
know these very like think back to those very impressionable times and what
Mm-hmm.
impressions were made on
Forming
you.
and molding you.
Yeah.
What
What are
hurts
you
did you
what are your
experience as a
default settings right
child?
now? You know
Yeah.
when you go into your Chrome default settings and you're like, why the fuck was this on there? um,
That's
that's
this.
what we're doing. That's the work we're doing this week, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm.
but yeah, Uranus in Taurus, the sign, you know, the toddler of the zodiac. And when we talk about Taurus and like how much they like comfort and like opulence and luxury, the way that I think about that too is like think of like having such a nurturing relationship with a toddler where like you
Mm-hmm.
provide them snacks. Like, oh, you're hungry, like get a snack. It doesn't matter like if it's
Mm-hmm.
breakfast, lunch, dinner.
Yep.
Get them a
Here's
snack.
water. Drink like you've never had water before and you
Yeah,
never
here's
will again.
water. I love when kids fucking drink water like
Dude,
that. So
they
funny.
just drink forever and then
I'm
they're like,
like,
ah.
oh, like you are refreshed as fuck right now. It's
It's
great.
so
It's good.
funny. Yeah.
And you know, like let's play whatever you want to play. Oh, you want to do this? Okay, you don't want to do that anymore? Okay, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Like that
Yeah.
compassionate, which, you know, a lot of us didn't receive enough of that.
Exactly. Exactly.
Very gentle
Mothering yourself this
parenting.
week
Yes.
for
Oh,
sure.
oh,
Oh,
yes.
yeah. Indulge your inner child. Mother yourself.
Your inner
If you
teenager, you
feel
know, your
hurt,
quirky teenager.
please address your inner teenager. They're wounded.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
They
Um
went through shit,
they did.
bro.
Yeah, just be gentle with yourself as much as you can this week.
Yeah.
Indulge your inner child a little bit. Have fun. Plan
For sure.
something enjoyable. If you have kids, do something that you would like another adult would tell you is childish with them. Do
Yeah.
something really silly with them this weekend,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Be kind to them, be compassionate to them.
Mm.
Kids have thoughts and feelings, and you know, children
Yeah.
are people too.
Hot take.
Hot take. They're people too. They just like need you to understand, you know, they need you to come to their level. It's
Yeah. Isn't
important.
that what we're kind of talking about that last week too?
Yeah, it's been that kind of
It's
thing, right?
it's
With
kind of
Mercury
a
and
theme.
Cancer, I feel like it's a lot of that, the
For sure. For
self-mothering,
sure.
being compassionate to yourself and others.
Yeah.
Man, Cancer season is kind of
Wow.
painful, honestly.
Oh man, I would hate
I've
to
been
be
in a
fucking Cancer.
funk, dude. I've been in a funk.
Yeah, I get
Been
very.
feeling meh.
It's
A little
yeah,
bit sensitive, literally so
yeah, yeah,
sensitive.
yeah. I don't know how to describe this. Like as a water sign to an earth sign, of like enjoying the sadness, but like it's not enjoying like, oh my god, this is so great, I'm loving this. But it's kind of like an acknowledgement and a appreciation for sadness, which is it's
Ooh.
weird, but that's kind of what I
Yeah. No,
try
and
to
I
be as like a
see what you're
sappy, sensitive
saying.
person.
I
Yeah,
can like look at that, the words you're saying and hear
right.
them and I'm
But
like, "Okay, I get
here's the
it."
thing.
But in
Here's the thing.
practice, can't do that.
Because I feel like you get it conceptually,
Mhm.
but what your Virgo brain does is more
Mhm.
like a cost benefit analysis
Yeah.
of sadness. Cause like you're
A
like,
little bit.
okay, the benefit of the sadness is that I'm gonna learn a lesson. Sure, I'm gonna like intellectualize this feeling and learn a lesson. Yes, that's
Mhm.
true. And you should do that if you have the capacity. Like, if that's how
Mhm.
you process emotions, it's
Mhm.
okay to intellectualize them. You just
For sure.
can't stop there.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah,
kind
yeah,
of
yeah.
and this is me to myself as well because of my Aquarian placements and
Right.
Gemini
You have to actually
rising.
feel the feelings, not
Yeah,
just look at them.
I do first intellectualize them and think that I'm good, though.
Yeah.
I've learned through therapy that like that like yeah, I can do that and it sounds very thoughtful and insightful and I sound very wise emotionally.
Right.
But then
Right.
have I felt the feeling though?
Did you
Have I
actually
sat
feel
with
it?
the feeling?
Yeah. I mean, obviously we text all the time. I've been texting you and telling you like how
Mm,
kind of off I've been and like how I've been a little upset about things and like I'm trying not to be a part of me intellectualizing my feelings is like trying to modulate them. And
mm,
I
yeah,
am very good at compartmentalizing, you know, and
yeah,
I know my feelings and I know myself, but I really don't often let myself feel them.
right.
So it's been a little hard this week to be kind of inundated with a lot of feelings
Yeah,
and trying to manage that as someone who doesn't get inundated with feelings very often. I'm a
yeah,
very neutral level emotionally person, really. Like I can be
yeah.
excited and happy, but I don't often
Mm.
feel very strong emotions. I really
Right.
Do you
Yeah.
disagree?
Uh no, I've seen you have joy.
Oh, for sure. That's the thing. Like I
And
can
I've seen you be
feel
like very excited.
yeah, I can feel very strong
But I
emotions,
think
but
even when you are feeling super excited, that you're
mhm.
feeling that this is very uncharacteristic of you normally. You
I do
always
feel
are like
like
you always are like,
it's a
I
bit.
haven't laughed like this in so long when we're together. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I sit alone and watch shit and laugh like this all the time.
I don't though. I don't
I
laugh like
know.
that by
Yeah, I really
myself
do. I'm
or
very
with very many
expressive,
people. You are.
even by
You're
myself.
exuberant. Didn't I use that word to describe you in
Yeah,
our tennis
I
episode?
was remembering the exuberant thing
Yeah.
too.
I love it.
Um, it
It's
goes
something that I
both
really like about
ways.
you.
You
I
know
just
how the very is very I know it's corny, but it is true, like the check on your super happy friends.
yeah.
Because you're
I get
not
super
able to
sad.
it's very difficult to be on that level of expressing joy
Mhm.
and only joy. Like
Right.
what? Am I a
Can't
fucking
have the
I'm
highs
not a
without the
fucking golden retriever. I'm
lows.
a human being.
You can't have the highs without the lows.
Yeah.
They
Like
match.
I can only find something so hilarious that maybe is very simple to everyone else, because I felt the worst about everything in the world. You
Right.
know? And this
Yeah.
one small thing that was like kind of awesome makes me laugh, or
And the
whatever.
thing is, I feel that way too. Like, I've been, it's just, I don't express,
Yeah.
like, I don't express when I'm feeling that unless I am particularly comfortable. I don't even
Mm.
express that with my family, although I rarely feel exceptional
Oh, I don't
joy
express my
with them.
emotions to my family. Are you joking?
Yeah, it's not
Who
that I'm not
does that?
happy around my family. I just don't often express it because they will tell me that something is wrong with the way I'm expressing. Like that's what
Oh,
happens
okay.
with my
I
family.
will say
So I've
I
learned to modulate for
my
everyone, I
family is
guess.
exuberant. Actually, I was thinking about this about you and
Oh.
your upbringing.
Mm.
Cuz I hate to say it, your parents
Mm.
are just so stiff.
Are they? See, I
Oh,
don't
they're
even think they're
extremely stiff to
stiff.
me. Yeah, cuz you grew up with them. How would you know?
No, but I
Jordan,
think
if you
a
came to
lot of
my
other
okay,
people's parents
here's the
are
thing.
stiff.
Here's the thing, because my parents wouldn't act like this in front of you, but I'm telling you how they are when it's just the three of us hanging out.
Uh-huh.
I've told you before, like, I come home from like my flight from
Yeah.
Grenada at
Yeah.
like midnight. They pick me up.
Right.
We're home at like 1ish, almost 1.
Mhm.
But we will like cackle and tell stories and like scream and laugh until 3, 4 a.m. on
Yeah.
those days.
Yeah.
Like, I grew up in a very, we laugh loudly, we
Mhm.
party, we go to people's houses and party and dance and
Yeah.
sing and stuff. Like,
We
that was how I
totally
grew
used
up.
to do that. We totally used to do that, and I think my parents just have really stiff friends now too. Like,
Yeah.
we're friends with like only boring white people. We're friends like they're only friends with people who are just like very white suburban, not that
Right.
there's like
And they
anything
don't
wrong with that. It's just
no,
like
but it's like
very
they
different from
don't
how I grew up, which was a
be
little more
having
diverse and
fun.
everybody was young, like, so staying
Right.
up and grilling and like singing and dancing, like that was way more common when I was little on the
Yeah.
weekends. Like they
Yeah.
used to be more like that and just haven't kept it, but their friends don't really do that now. They end up like arguing when they get too drunk. Like that's the kind of nights they have, which
Yeah.
is like annoying to me. Like
Right.
I don't like it. So
Right.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
That's interesting.
Like
But
they're
yeah, but
definitely more expressive than all of my friends' parents except yours. like they're way more
yeah, even though
expressive than
I know
that.
you haven't seen my parents like that. I don't think you would, because it is very like it's how we are at home.
Yeah, it's not
Um
for other people, it's for you.
yeah. But I mean, they would. My dad would get in like a very goofy conversation with you, like, if
I
we were
think
having
if we
dinner or
spent
something.
yeah, I think if we like did something like that, like had
Yeah.
dinner and drinks together or whatever, like
And
that
like
would be
me,
more.
my banter with my parents,
Yeah, I think we
I
would
just feel like
get
I
it.
have it's funny to me. My parents are strict in some ways, but in a lot of ways they're very like whatever.
Yeah,
Like conversations and
right.
humor and um even like I was thinking about this, the way I grew up without having like religion or politics ever being a taboo. Like, we're always saying some
Right,
out of
right.
pocket shit about politics to each other
Yeah.
and joking.
Yeah.
Um and talking about religion very like freely,
Mhm.
and spirituality was very much the reason I am the way I am. But yeah, like I never felt afraid to get into like deep philosophical shit with my parents and have them like argue with me, because they rarely did. Usually they tried to understand stuff, because they're
Yeah.
very curious minded people.
Mhm.
And yeah, and just like a debate, like it's just
Yeah.
like fun for us. But a lot of people grew up not having that freedom to like speak out or like laugh really
Mhm.
loud or be super expressive in their home, like that
Yeah.
affects you in your adulthood,
It's
I
so
think.
interesting because, like, I didn't ever feel like I had limitations on that either. It's just like, then sometimes when I would be too happy or like having too much fun, or even now, if I'm
Yeah,
like
and then they're acting
excited
like you're
about
weird.
something,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
they and like I get loud when I'm talking about it, like they just tell me to be like, I mean, they're just telling me to lower my volume, but it makes me feel like bad,
Yeah.
that
I
like
mean,
I've now done
think of
something
a
wrong.
5-year-old version of you being in that same situation
I
and you being
was.
excited. Exactly. That's what I'm saying, Jordan.
Yeah. But
That's what
no, and
I'm
that's the
getting
thing,
at,
like,
Jordan.
I know it's part of the reason why I modulate my emotions all the time. Like, I
Yeah,
just like struggle to express them because I've been told
to
to
not.
lessen them,
Right.
and that, like, I don't know, that
Yeah.
it's somehow unacceptable the way I'm expressing them. And
Right.
it's
I
like,
mean, that's how I've been raised when it comes to like anger and
mhm,
sadness. But like
mhm.
exuberance and excitement has been fine, which is why I'm the way I am. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um yeah. And you
Yeah.
know, we can have like a serious spirited debate, but I can't actually get angry. You know, it's a very fine
Yeah.
line. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't feel a ton of strong emotions anymore though. Like, I'm trying to let myself feel
Or are
them,
you
but
just used to
no,
not?
I just don't really this is the depression thing, but I just don't really feel a
Yeah.
lot beyond general like
Right.
neutrality, sometimes contentment, and then other times frustration.
R-
It's like
right.
very
But
moderate
you
emotions.
just said that's the depression. Like it's not
It is.
your
It's
that's not like actually your
my
default state.
well, there's like a clinical term for it. What is it where you like
Ap-
don't feel? It's apathy. Yeah.
apathy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel apathy most of the time,
Yeah.
which is fine.
Um
And like that doesn't mean that I don't have fun with people. Like, I often laugh a lot at work because my coworkers are funny and I like them. So like we talk shit about customers
mhm,
and other coworkers,
mhm.
and we laugh and joke and have a good
Yes.
time, and I feel, I'm laughing, I'm having a nice time, and then I go
Yeah.
back to putting up the vegetables, like,
Right, like
chill, like,
it doesn't linger.
yeah. I don't often have lingering things. I can,
Yeah.
and I have like I have a good time all the, like, I generally have a
Yeah.
good time. I just don't like
Yeah.
feel some type of way
Yeah,
about
yeah,
it.
yeah. I've definitely and I've like heard stuff about like how you know, psychologists and spiritual people will talk about feeling the emotion in your body or whatever. All of those
Mhm.
things of like we don't we don't let the happiness feeling linger into
Mhm.
like, you know, like having a really cute, nice, joyful morning. We tend to not let that affect the rest of our day, but anything negative definitely affects the rest of our day, right?
Yeah.
And
I
it's so interesting to me that that happens.
Yeah, it is
To be
interesting. I
honest.
mean, like, and the thing is, you say that, and I'm like, no, like, sometimes just having a nice morning sets me up for a really good
Yeah, yeah,
day.
yeah. But
But
the thing
yeah,
is
if
you
one
kind of
bad
have
thing
to be
happens, I'm
more
like,
you have to be a little more mindful about
I agree.
letting that happy
Hmm.
moment,
And
I feel like.
yeah, I
But
think
like
so too. And
if you
it
have
is
a
something
bad
I've been
morning, it'll
working
just
on.
be automatic. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
Yeah,
kind of
a
like what
bad
I'm.
morning is 100% bad day.
Right.
And sometimes it gets turned around, like if I'm really focused on it, I can just be like, all right, we're going to flip it around.
Yeah. Right.
Like, I'll go find my one.
Yeah.
There's this one coworker that I have who I adore. He works in the mornings and he's older. So I only see him when we're switching shifts, basically. Like, he leaves when I come in. And
Hmm.
every day when I see him, he gives me the best hug. And even if I've had a really bad morning, it just like sets me up for a good rest of my shift. Like I just
Right.
feel better, you know? Like
Right.
I don't often talk to anyone in the morning when I'm getting ready. My dad's working, my mom's gone, my sister doesn't talk to me and then complains that I stay in my room all the time, you know, normal shit. And
Yeah.
then it's just like he just like sets me on the right path. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
okay, I've gotten my daily dose of physical affection.
He's kind
I'm
of
like a
a
very physically affectionate person, really, and I don't get a lot of
yeah.
physical affection.
Right. It's interesting to me that you are, because I haven't noticed that your family is. And
Yeah, we all. My
on
mom
the
is very
flip side,
physically
my
affectionate.
family is very physically affectionate and I'm very
You're
averse.
not. You hate it. You have
Which I know
intimacy issues.
which is a new well, yeah, okay. Okay. Relax, okay? I wasn't trying to walk into a therapy session, but I guess I did therapize you just now, kind of, so I'll take it.
It's just part of
Um
this week's astrology that we're supposed to still be talking
oh
about.
yeah, that's part of this week's astrology. Yeah. Got you. But also that aversion is new,
Mm-hmm.
relatively. I mean,
Yeah.
comparing my life, my
Yeah.
entire life, it's new. I
Mm-hmm.
think like maybe 20s, early 20s.
Oh, interesting.
Um, and like, you know, it makes sense when I look back at stuff. There wasn't like anything horrible incident. I'm not alluding to that, but multiple not horrible incidents probably led
Mm-hmm.
to that, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
That is also a whole entire episode.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah. Um my family's very exuberant and affectionate. Like I feel like you can imagine
Yeah.
that kind of uh I don't know, island party culture. Everyone's pretty affectionate too.
Yeah,
Um
absolutely. And like my mom is very physically affectionate. I
mm,
just feel like these days there's like almost something lost
mm,
that we haven't been able to rekindle. And maybe that's like ultimately what I'm struggling with, right? Like I'm
yeah.
struggling to find my
Very
place in my
Cancerian.
family.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After like not living here and then moving back in a state of duress and then
Yeah.
finally evening out and trying to figure out how I fit in my family again.
Mm.
But it's like
Yeah, that's big.
too hard.
I get that.
It's too
It
hard.
is. I struggled with that um like during the pandemic when I went back home.
Yeah, it's just a
Like
lot
a
to
lot. Yeah, a lot.
it's so weird. Like, you know,
It's very
there's
weird.
all kinds of societal bullshit. While a lot of people our age have moved home and stuff, like I'm not supposed to be living at home anymore. You know, like I'm
Yeah.
not supposed to be dealing with like bullshit sibling dynamics that piss me off and like trying to get it through to my parents that like
Yeah.
like, you know, I may be 27 but like I still need I still need you as my parents.
Mm.
And
It's
like
so it's so bizarre to me that like honestly physical distance from your parents. I
mhm
don't know if everyone relates to this, cuz here's the thing, like my my normie friend group that I refer to in med
mhm
school, they're I mean, they're like not much younger than me.
right
Like a couple are 25. One is my age
mhm
and the others are like 23, 24, you know.
mhm
So only like somewhat younger,
yeah
but I like have talked about how like I've definitely lived away from my parents longer than any of them.
mhm
Which is not even that long. It's like a
right
few years maybe.
yeah
But yeah, I have found, and my sisters told me this even before I was able to live away from my parents,
mhm
that like living away from them, the distance, physical distance, helped the relationship.
absence makes the heart grow fonder, dude. It works
Well,
every time.
yeah, I mean, it's that, but it's also just like Not being in the proximity of people who basically know all of your fucking triggers and buttons
Yeah,
because they installed
absolutely.
them.
Right.
Yeah, you know, your
Right.
parents.
So
Um,
I think a lot of it is like absence makes the heart grow fonder. Like they, relish in having that time with you when they
yeah.
do get to talk to you and see
Instead
you.
of being full
Yeah.
of shit all the time with
Yes,
like
all the
bothering you
time.
about stuff.
Right.
Yeah,
And like
definitely.
trying to get in your business all the time because they're not around
Right.
you all the time. Like it
Yeah,
makes
yeah,
it
yeah.
easier. But
Which is why my times with my parents right when I fly home is
mhm.
amazing because we're just
Yeah.
chatting shit
Just catching up.
and having a good time, and that
Yeah.
lasts for a little while, and then after that it's like,
And then you settle back
oh,
into normal shit. Right. But
yeah,
it's
yeah,
like,
where they're trying to get you back into that dynamic of
yeah,
having control over you and your choices
it's
and your
right.
behavior and
It's
everything when
way
you've
easier to
lived
set
as,
boundaries
yeah,
outside
yeah,
of the
yeah,
home. Yeah.
yes, like you've already experienced some of your life as an independent adult,
Right.
which usually leads to kind of being more comfortable with yourself and like
Mhm.
not being afraid of being judged, so you kind of can do whatever and whatever it is, discover yourself a little more. But then
Right.
moving back in with your parents where they don't know this new version of you, they
Right.
know like the one that they raised and had much more control over,
Right.
and then everyone is pissed. Like,
Yeah.
you know, they're
Like
equally as
all the
pissed because
time.
they're just like, why did this person just change? Like,
Yeah.
why are they
Yeah.
suddenly standing up for themselves or arguing back more or
For
whatever
sure.
it is?
Yeah,
So yeah, it's a very sticky situation.
it's a hard time of year for this stuff too. And like thinking
Yeah.
about our friends who are parents listening to this, like your kids are home all the time now.
Right.
They were at school. So like,
Right.
evenings and weekends were like nice times together.
Yeah.
Now, maybe they're at camps and stuff during the day because people still have to work, but like they're around
True.
way more now and you have to
Yeah.
deal with them way more often.
Right.
So it's similar even when they're young, where it's like you have to kind of relearn who they are when you see them
Yeah.
for more hours of the day all summer long,
Totally.
and like they don't have activities every day. You can't like have a normal schedule all the
Right.
time. Like who they're kind of becoming as they grow, go and start new years in school and like mature and have way more opinions and spew way more
Right.
bullshit that you have to deal with. Like
Yeah.
learning who even your little kids are as they grow, because they change all the time too. Like truly, they change way faster than we do as adults.
Mm,
Like
yeah, that's true.
I think it takes like a couple of years of living on your own to kind of come into your adult personality,
Yeah.
like a few years of true independence to find out who you really are and find
Right.
confidence in that versus like,
What are the what's the psychological stages of life? Like
I
adolescence is
don't
when
know.
you're discovering your identity, but you also have like a in your early adulthood a time where you're really getting into like yourself as a person away from your upbringing. So yeah, it's an interesting time
Yeah, it's an
for
interesting
sure.
time. I don't
It's an
know.
interesting
This
time.
obviously we're sitting here talking about parents and children. It's cancer
Eh,
season and a lot of
yeah,
the astrology is just like,
about this.
yeah, it's be nice to yourself, encourage
Yeah,
yourself
yeah,
and
and like
dream big. Like,
ending with a Mercury trine Neptune. That might be when you have the alien dream astral
yeah.
projection on Sunday.
Yeah. I feel like in a more grounded sense, you like it's the time where like you're I don't know, you'll be feeling, ooh, how do I want to phrase this? I'm like thinking about it. How do I want to say this? Like to me that's a lot of oh god, like listening to those dreams that you had you when you were little and like
Mm,
assessing, not even assessing, that's too concrete, but just like feeling, have
hmm.
you accomplished this for yourself, whether like when you're little you want to be like an astronaut or something, but like
Mm,
now you're an accountant. But did you like satisfy something in that dream that you
Mm-hmm.
had with
Like
what you're doing now?
being adventurous, or like being
Sure, like
curious, whatever,
whatever aspect
whatever
of an
the
astronaut
feelings
you wanted to
are.
be, like,
Yes.
are
Yes.
you like still feeling, do you feel like you've satisfied that for yourself? And
Mm.
like, if not, like, how can you spice it up? Like, obviously, it's not like, you're 40 and you're an accountant. You can't become an astronaut anymore. But like, could you indulge in like buying a telescope for yourself and having,
Yeah.
especially
Oh,
during the summer,
that
like,
sounds rad as fuck. I
right,
want a
having a
telescope.
telescope.
Yes, yes,
Right.
yes.
But like, indulging in something like that. Like, why did you have this dream when you were a kid? And how can you like,
Mm.
if you've got kids, like, how can you tell them, like, when I was little, I really wanted to be an astronaut. Here's why I loved space. Like, we're going to get a
Mm.
telescope and we can spend the summer night stargazing. And then,
Yo, if you
like,
can go to a
you know,
planetarium,
yeah, go to a
fucking
planetarium
love.
with them. Like, take yourself on a planetarium day. Like,
I love
something.
a
Just do,
solo planetarium date. Yo, that's
yeah.
like
Just like,
one of the best things.
I feel like we need to be a little bit more dreamy and indulgent right now. And like, it doesn't
Mm.
have to be monetary, even like, whatever. Borrow your neighbor's binoculars and look at the stars, whatever. I don't
Definitely.
know. Like,
But also
they're
museums and
just
like
something.
planetariums,
Yeah.
in a lot of places they're not that expensive. Maybe the
No, they're
super
free
if you're
or
if
not
you're
very
in like a
expensive.
major city and you're going to a very touristy place, then
Hmm.
yes. But like a lot of local places, like
Yeah.
need more funding. Like they don't even get enough money. Like so their prices are
Right.
low. Is what I'm saying. Support
Right.
your little local places if that's like what
Yeah. And they're a great way, I feel like,
fulfills your
to indulge your
curiosity. You
inner
know.
child. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
going to your
Yeah.
natural history museum if you want to be a paleontologist or a zoologist, or like, haven't been to your art museum in years and like you always wanted to be an artist,
Yeah.
just reminding yourself of these like passions you had your whole
Definitely.
life, these things you loved when you were little, just having fun. It's the time of
Definitely.
year to have
I
fun.
I think the reason I listen to so much music, like even these little playlists that I'm making, I feel like I
Hmm.
can make them so easily because my music library is like huge. So
It's absolutely massive. You have
I
a
save a lot
very
of
wide
music.
musical repertoire.
Yeah, thanks. I like it. It's been developing for many years.
Right.
And I think part of that is like one of my little childhood dreams was being like a singer, songwriter, producer.
Mhm.
And I
Yeah.
kind of like listening to music and like watching K-pop music videos and stuff like that. That sort of thing is very healing to my inner teenager because I
Mhm.
daydreamed about stuff like that. And that was when I was first getting into K-pop. So I was like,
Right.
"Oh my god, what if I was like a K-pop like concept
Yeah.
designer, producer kind of
Right.
thing?" Um yeah, so I still find that fun
Mhm.
as an adult. I mean, K-pop just gets cooler and cooler,
True.
to be honest. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so that's kind of like one of those things that I do regularly. Um,
Yeah, right.
so like an
Yeah,
interest
I
like
think I
that,
need to
there it's important to do stuff
reindulge.
like that.
Yeah, I wanted to be a singer when I was little. I need to like reindulge that part of myself.
Exactly.
But I think that's part
Music
of why
helps.
I love making this podcast, because I get to like record and produce with you
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
just
yeah.
like, this is fun for me and like satisfies a passion of mine
Hmm.
that has been like making my own things, media
Definitely.
and whatever. We're not singing. This isn't a singing podcast, but like we get to share things that we like, share music that we're enjoying, and just have
Mm-hmm.
fun together. And like,
Hmm.
this satisfies that for me. And like, I don't know. I had so many dreams when I was little. I went through a whole paleontologist phase.
Hmm. I
I
wanted
wanted
to
to be
be a
one so
journalist.
badly. I like that you want to be a journalist. You're
I
so
wanted to be
precocious.
I wanted to be a little I wanted to be yeah, thanks. I wanted to be an international correspondent.
Oh my god.
Boots on the ground.
Shut up.
I'm here in
You're
fucking
too much.
Libya. We're addressing the refugee crisis. Like
Jesus
that was the
Christ.
shit that I yeah. Yeah. I was a big
Wow.
nerd. I was a big nerd, dude. And
Yeah,
like
wow.
different flavor of nerd than the usual. I tried to
Mhm.
explain this to someone, they did not understand. Like I was not a gamer nerd.
No.
I wasn't like a gamer computer. I mean, I was into computers,
I
but like
mean, have they
that
never
wasn't the
met a
flavor.
precocious child before? That doesn't even make sense.
It did not make sense because they were like, you know, I'm not experienced in playing video games. Like, so when in high school, I would go to someone's house and, you
Mhm.
know, there's many of us and playing video games and I'd be bad at them. It's like, yeah, because I don't
Yeah.
play these at home. My parents make me fucking study, dude.
I have
Like,
to read and study.
I don't get the luxury to sit and play video games for 10 hours after school. Are you joking?
Right.
And they're like, you always say you're a nerd or whatever. I'm like,
That's
yeah,
not
more like a literary,
yeah.
like I read Gone with the Wind when I was 11 years old.
Right. That kind
Like
of nerd.
this kind of nerd.
Like computer people are geeks. You're a nerd.
Yeah.
You know, there's a distinction that we like didn't
Yeah.
make.
But now we just say like gamers. Or I guess,
Right.
you know, we have a
You're
broader,
just
you know, term.
right.
Your
There are
better,
lots
broader
of
meaning
words
of nerd.
and
Yeah.
it's fine.
Yeah. I was a
It's
fucking,
interesting.
yeah, I don't know, intellectual
Yeah.
child.
Oh my god.
Wherever that went. But
Mhm.
here's what else I'll say about the astrology. This
Mhm.
week is even when you're saying like we need to get over our fucking emotional baggage before Leo season, this is
Mhm.
kind of the week to pick it up a little bit. Okay,
Yeah.
on delay,
Pick up the pace.
bitch.
It's gonna be in your face.
We gotta, you know, have a good cry, do some reflecting,
Mhm.
kind of like, because we gotta get up, we gotta move on, we gotta slay. Okay.
Right. Right.
The next Monday,
Mm-hmm.
the following Monday, July 10th. First of all, that's when EXO's album comes out, but that's not in the astrology.
That's not what this is about.
The action, that's not what this is about, but I just wanted to mention it just in case
Mhm.
you didn't know.
Mhm.
So that's when EXO's album comes out. It's also when Mars moves into Virgo.
Woohoo!
Okay. Virgo Mars. My best friend from Peace Corps has a Virgo Mars. Very, like, very planned, efficient worker.
Ducks
Like
in a row, baby.
Yeah, like that is honestly kind of a placement I'm envious of, but
Mind
I
your
don't have
P's and Q's, bitch.
I don't have many like things I would want to change about my astrology personally, but that's a pretty good one. Virgo Mars would be really helpful sometimes.
Virgo Mars is a nice placement.
You could
honestly,
it can definitely
in a lot of aspects.
It can definitely fall into like a perfectionist.
For sure.
You
it
know.
Can be tense in that
yeah. It may be hard to work with people. Like you might be a little thorny.
Yep.
Like to work with.
You're the project manager,
to me,
but like the micromanager.
To be honest, I don't mind. I had a really I did do some work with this Peace Corps friend of mine where she's definitely like the manager. I'm the ideas guy.
Right.
You know,
very
and
Mars
you and I
Yep.
kind of have the something similar going on.
We have a very similar dynamic, and then we meet in our like Gemini rising.
Yeah.
With like boom, bing, bang ideas.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Like, how far can we take this?
Yeah, for sure. But the Virgo Mars is very much like I made a timetable. I made a fucking graph. Like I'm ready. I have the list of things I need to buy. I have the budget made for this project. Like very
Mars
detailed
in Virgo
planning. And so I think it's a great time if you have something very, I don't know, like that to work on that you kind of need to get going on.
Yeah.
So I think it would be smart to be a little emotionally clearer. Get kind of those things out of the way this coming week.
Right. And I do feel like it's a supportive week for that. Like
yes, definitely.
Like you're gonna be in your emotions, and then the energies are gonna pick you on up and set you straight. And
Hopefully,
then you enter Mars and Virgo with like a clearer head.
yeah, and hopefully some like inspiration, I
Mm-hmm.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I we're gonna get into this, I think, when we talk about like what we've been watching and listening to later.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I did watch the Hasan Minhaj interview with Barack Obama,
Mm-hmm.
and it actually goes so well. Right before we started this recording, I was like, let me just look up his chart really quick, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Barack Obama's a Leo, if you didn't know. Very definitely makes sense, I
Classic.
think.
Charismatic.
Um,
Alluring.
and exactly. Um, and he's an Aquarius rising and also has a Virgo Mars, ironically.
Oh, you know what? That makes so much
It
sense.
makes
Because it's
so much
like
sense.
you have the charisma, and then you've got the foresight and the need and want to help
Yeah.
everyone, and then the fucking planning to back it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh
Um
shit.
yeah. It's a good chart, actually.
Yeah, very
If you want to
good.
look up Barack Obama's chart.
That's
But
interesting.
but yeah, so it just made me think of kind of how he is, like, whatever you'd like to say about him. That's not what this podcast is.
Mm-mm.
But, using him to learn a bit more about astrology,
Mm-hmm.
of like, yeah, exactly what you're saying. He had sort of progressive ideals,
Mm-hmm.
and like and they address this in the interview. He
Mm-hmm.
has this optimistic hope. At one
Yeah.
point, Hasan Minhaj is just like, you're too intelligent to not be depressed
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. He
Woo.
was just
That's
like,
a real fact.
you're, specifically these past few years
Right.
have been just extremely bleak. And
Right.
you, like, him speaking to Barack Obama, like, you're the hope and change guy, you
Right.
know?
Yep.
Like, how much of it is just a front, because there's no way that you don't look at the world and aren't depressed. And
Right.
Barack Obama was like, of course I've been depressed. Like, what do you
Yeah.
mean? But he kind of goes into it where, like, it is just in his personality
Mm-hmm.
to be optimistic and keep trucking
Right.
along. What's the next thing
Right.
I gotta do? Okay,
Yep.
so what's the next? Okay, so that doesn't work. So what's
Mm-hmm.
the next thing I gotta do?
Very
Um,
Mars in Virgo to
yeah,
me.
yeah, because you can be a perfectionist and keep trying to do the same thing forever.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a Virgo Mars placement is like, you're
Mm-hmm.
so much of a perfectionist that you just can't waste time on this anymore.
Yep.
Toss it.
Yep. What
Move
I
on
think
to something
people
else.
often mistake about Virgo placements is that they're like extremely stubborn, more like a Taurus, where like they will keep trying the same thing over
No,
and
they're
over again.
mutable. They're a
And
mutable sign.
exactly. And that's very much not Virgos. Like, sure, we want to think, and usually this is what happens, but that the first thing we think of is the correct way to go about something, right? Sure. Usually that's fine. But when it doesn't work, we usually already have at least two backup plans if the first way didn't work.
Right. I mean,
And we are
yeah,
willing to
that's true.
try the next one and then the next one.
Right.
Or like if something doesn't work out, we're gonna move past it. Like it's
Right.
not a lingering thing for most Virgos. Like you said, it's a
Right.
mutable sign. Like it's much easier to move on as a Virgo than it is as other Earth placements.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's like Virgo will have their ego bruised by being wrong, sure.
Sure.
But like, if work needs to get done, we're gonna push those feelings aside. And Virgo's very good at pushing feelings aside, including having a bruised ego from being wrong.
Yep.
Because they want to be right.
Patch up that wound later.
Yeah. Exactly.
But
exactly.
like right now we've got to go. We have shit to do.
we gotta move on.
Yep.
So yeah, I just thought it's a pretty decent interview, and
a pretty decent interview.
It's pretty decent. It's interesting. Like, I think he's still like, I'm a politician, I have to be very careful about what I'm saying. And Hasan is
Yes.
trying to push that.
Mm-hmm.
And they talk about authenticity, all that stuff. Yeah, I think it's good. I mean, it's a good. We're early, but it's good for Leo season too, I think.
Yeah,
And we'll
for
talk more
sure.
about that when we get into Leo season.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I just think Mars and Virgo, a good little grind set mindset moment.
Yeah, and it's not pushing yourself to the point of failure,
No,
please.
no,
That's
no.
not what we're talking about. We're talking
It's
about
really just like I need to
get your shit in
fucking
order.
yeah. It's giving the the vlogs of people just like getting shit done all
Yep.
day. Like
Life
just record a vlog.
resets.
Yeah, I love a life
Yeah.
reset.
Yeah.
I need a life reset right now.
I mean, I do too. But that's a good time to do it when you're like,
yeah. Next week.
when you've got the
Now do the
motivation for
planning.
it.
Yeah. Get the stuff done. Make sure you schedule
Maybe
the
think
time.
about schedule your time to cry this week.
Yes.
But also be thinking about the things you want to change, the things you want to do. Do you have any
For sure.
projects you've been putting off? Do you need to redo your closet? I just redid my closet and it was great. Do you need to redo your whole closet? Sam,
Yeah.
do you need to go find some drip?
Yeah, Jordan
Do you need to make
absolutely
your
dragged
wardrobe
my
more
life
drippy?
by telling me that my wardrobe.
No. You're leaving out a lot of context here. You're leaving out a lot of context here. Sam,
I don't know if we
you
can
know
get
those
into-
big red
Oh
foam
no, I don't.
boots?
Oh god, we don't need to.
Yeah, we need to talk about it. You know those big red foam boots that like influencers have been wearing unironically that are absolutely hideous and impractical. They're making a Crocs version, right? I sent them to Sam, and Sam immediately is like,
I was joking.
Those are
Okay,
so drippy.
I was joking about that. I hate you, bitch. I thought you were going to talk about what I said today.
And then Sam sends another video today of someone customizing the big red foam ones, which it was cool. But again, wearing them
And you were
unironically.
so mad.
It's not that they didn't look cool. It's just like the whole concept of these shoes is so ugly, horrific, horrendous, a sweaty nightmare. You can't even get them on. Like, no.
But Jordan.
And then Sam is like obsessed with drip, like the ugliest shoes. And Sam is like, drip, straight drip, fire, gas. And I'm just like, what? But all Sam wears is leggings, t-shirts, maybe a cardigan. Sam was wearing a flannel today when we were like doing stuff before the podcast. And I was like, oh, that's different.
Wait, was that dressed up to you? I literally hate you so much. I'm never speaking to you again.
Podcast over right now.
I can't believe I'm being dragged for not dressing up.
Not dressing up. You're obsessed with drip, with like cool clothes.
Of course I am. Of course I am.
You don't.
I'm not trying to be an influencer.
You're not trying to be a drip god.
No, I just enjoy it. I just enjoy consuming it. It's the same way that I'm not a fucking producer, musical producer, but I enjoy music. Okay, I enjoy fashion as an art form, but I don't give a fuck about fashion myself.
I know, I'm just kidding.
But
I'm just like dragging you for something.
Yeah, but it really was funny. It was funny. I really got read to death earlier.
Anyway, it's a good time to kind of put some gas in your ass and do the thing. Or at least map it out. Like if you need to hire someone to come do the thing for you, you can do that. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Been meaning to renovate your bathroom? Better get going. Mm-hmm. You'll want to do it next week.
But I think that covers it. Hopefully this was cohesive.
I think so. I'm going to make a very brief statement about the tarot I pulled for this week.
Yes.
I got
please bring it all together.
I got the Two of Swords. That's our main card for the week.
Mhm.
The Two of Swords is a card about duality, of course, but it can either be about blind faith or self-limitation. Where are you on this spectrum? Are you in the place and actually doing the work to be able to trust your intuition
Uh-huh.
implicitly? Or are you sitting here thinking about all the things you should do and could do, things that you want to do, that you say you want to
Mhm.
do, that you've told people you want to do, and you're just not doing anything about it? I literally was talking to my friend today about like how sometimes when you're in relationships with men and they're ending, they're like, you deserve someone so much better than me. Like, you deserve a better man.
Oh my
Okay, be
god.
the better man. Like, why not put in the effort? Are you like not putting in the effort to be the better person that someone deserves? Like, whatever. Think about it. Just think about it in different
Yeah.
perspectives and how it
Yeah.
like might apply to your life either way. But that's been a big theme lately too. Like,
Mm.
relationships have been messy.
Mhm.
In addition to
Mm.
that, I got a lot of fives while I was shuffling. Fives in
Mhm.
tarot are about conflict. So I got specifically the Five of Cups and the Five of Coins. The Five of Cups is about not appreciating what you have and only focusing on what you don't. I also feel like that applies to the astrology and like what I've just
Mhm.
been saying. Like, focusing on lack doesn't help you.
Mhm.
Focusing on your lack of love as a child is actually not helpful.
Mm.
Reflecting on it and using it to better yourself now and like the changes you need to make, making sure you are mothering and fathering and parenting yourself, your inner
Right.
child, is
Right.
really important. But if you are just thinking about how like, oh, my parents just screwed me up so bad, I'm never going to be better, like, that's not helpful. We're not doing that
Yeah.
anymore. We're not.
Yeah.
And Five of Coins is about like this line or this like concept of holding on so tightly to wealth that you ignore the need that's in front of you. Like, it's not like giving beyond your means, but making sure that you're not hoarding, because there's no
Mm.
use in hoarding. There
Mhm.
are,
Mhm. Mhm.
whether it's you need to indulge in buying that telescope to satisfy your inner child and share that with someone that you love very much. Like, that's an important thing to consider. Don't spend irresponsibly. Moderate your own finances, but
Mhm.
indulging in yourself every once in a while is okay and is acceptable and is often very necessary.
Yeah, smart
You know,
investment actually to
right.
take care of yourself. I don't
Take
know.
care of
Hot take.
yourself, invest in yourself, buy yourself something
Yeah.
nice just because you want to, like,
Yeah.
don't,
It doesn't have to be content, by the way.
right. Right. It doesn't have to be
Me
content.
at me, as it were. You can get into
Just
something
enjoy.
without having to post it.
Yeah. Just enjoy something for yourself.
Yeah.
Um, and I also wanted to point out the Tower and the Devil. The
Love
Tower
them.
makes you
Oh.
feel like everything is crumbling. It is often just a new beginning. In this case, you can maybe think about it as like a commitment to a generational shift, right? If you're a parent with children,
Yeah.
teaching them and giving them what you lacked, what you feel like you really needed as a kid, making sure that they have it. It can also be like this Mars in Virgo next week. It can just be like a time where you really need to just shift something, get something
Mhm.
going,
Mhm. Mhm.
start building a new tower, something that you can be proud of, something that makes you happy. And then the devil is like, I don't know, how would you describe the devil, Sam? Like,
Um
it's a little bit of like indulgence, a little bit of
yeah.
not indulging too much.
I think especially those two together, the tower and the
Mhm.
devil,
Mhm.
one interpretation of the devil is like kind of coming to terms with things about yourself that you're not
Mhm.
happy with,
Mhm.
maybe
Mhm.
regrets that
Yes.
you have,
Yes.
uh or bad habits or behavior that needs to be addressed.
Mhm.
Like kind of what you're saying, like even this thing about when guys will be like you deserve someone better.
Mhm.
That mindset of
Right.
like I'm fundamentally broken or
I'm
whatever,
not
like
enough. I will never be
yeah, like
enough.
I'm inadequate or
Mhm.
even imposter syndrome can be this.
Yeah, for sure.
Because imposter syndrome tends to come from a type of upbringing where you did not feel like, even what I was talking about earlier about like being a person of color in white suburbia, where
Right.
the energy you receive is of rejection all the time, like all the time when you're very young.
Right.
So yeah, like seeing how those things have affected you and caused behaviors that you're not necessarily proud of. I was thinking of this earlier, like that whole gifted child syndrome that people talk about.
Yep.
And how putting kids, and here's the thing, I want to know if like this is still done. Is it still done in the same way
I
nowadays
have no idea.
in grade school, where like they'll find the kids and give them an IQ test and like put them in some separate class, or you know, it's different in different states, but whatever that version is. And how, I mean, a lot of those kids are kind of fucked up right now, like as adults. And I mean, one part of it was I felt like when we were separated from the rest of the class, like it caused a divide with other students. And we weren't like discouraged from acting like we're hot shit because we're in some advanced class. You know, like I saw people act like that all the time. And I feel like those people, like people who grew up as gifted kids, also have like this tendency to act very superior about their intelligence. Like even something like that. And you know, I'm saying that as someone, I think I relate to that. Is what I'm trying to say. Like I feel like sometimes I can get a little haughty. Not HOTTIE, but HAUGHTY. But it's a double entendre. It's a double entendre. But yes, haughty. Yeah. Exactly. That I maybe come off that way to people. Like that's something that's come up for me a lot. You know, those sorts of things where instead of kind of blaming the other person if someone brings up something to you, I mean, that can be relatable, especially this Mercury square Chiron. Really, any of these placements, especially if you have a romantic partner who may like bring up stuff about like how you're perceived or whatever it is. And you coming to terms with that, maybe reflecting on how you were raised and why you might be that way, but not using it as an excuse, but using it as a way to address it, acknowledge it, and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's like part of, you know,
definitely
part of getting older and like realizing those things.
Yeah, the devil really encourages self-reflection like this, and
yeah, the devil is not a bad card at all.
No.
Both of these get a bad rep, actually. The tower and the devil. I think when people get the tower, they think that there's like impending doom. But I think the whole point, like if you get the card in tarot, if you're doing a tarot reading about whatever it is you're thinking about and get the tower, you're already informed now.
Yeah.
That some shit's about to hit the fan. Exactly. Which makes it much less shit hitting the fan-y.
Yes.
Because you expect it. So it's not impending doom anymore. It's more like, okay, I need to keep my wits about me and be a little more mindful and reflective of stuff that's going on.
It's time for a dismantling, a fresh beginning. It's fine. Like it's okay. It will be tough, but you'll get through.
Yeah. And also that combination, like if you're someone who tends to stay in your comfort zone and be very stagnant, that might be, I can see our like stagnance, our imposter syndrome, whatever it is, our limiting beliefs keeping us from rebuilding a tower.
Exactly.
You know, so that's definitely relatable this week, I think, and this week and next week.
You can't reach the heights you're meant to reach if you're not willing to build a new building when the first one falls.
Yeah.
And that wraps up tarot for the week. Okay.
Oh man. Oh man. All right. I think that's all I got, to be
All
honest.
right. Sam, what have you been listening to this week? Or
Oh,
watching or reading or whatever?
many things. There are so many musical releases coming out, and it's like just starting kind of. So SHINee, fucking K-pop legends,
Very
have come
classic
back
group.
with, yes, with their 8th album called Hard.
8th. Holy shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love
15
that it's called
years.
Hard.
They had their 15th anniversary, debut
Cute.
anniversary. Their youngest member just finished their military service earlier this year. Was that earlier this year? Oh my god. It seems like forever ago.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe it was last year actually. I might be wrong. Don't quote me on that. But yeah,
Something.
Taemin finished his military service.
Mm-hmm.
And they're doing a comeback and it's so good. I think I'm only sad like their leader is like not well, like he's sick, so he's not able to promote right now.
Aw.
I just feel a little empty, okay?
Mm-hmm.
With just 3 of them. But
Are they really
yeah,
only a 4-person group? I thought they were
they
more.
were 5, but one of the members died.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what year was that?
That was a few years
2017?
ago, wasn't it? I remember.
2017 or something like
Yeah, I
that.
remember.
I remember seeing like the death anniversary and I was shocked by the
Mm-hmm.
number of years. I was like, I can't believe it was that long ago.
Yeah, I remember this
Um
happening. It was really sad.
yeah. And if anything, I mean, I was always into SHINee, but I think they had a hiatus obviously after that.
Right, right.
That goes without question. But their comeback after that, one thing about SHINee is that they get a lot more creative control
Mm-hmm.
than I think a lot of groups.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of them, like not even just choreography, but also like concept,
Right.
lyrics. And their comeback song, you could listen to it and think it's a love song, but it's kind of like in disguise a song about their grief
Oh,
for the member that died. And it's a very like
woof.
emotional. I was rewatching it today because I was like, SHINee's a fucking legend. I love SHINee, and just like fangirling a bit.
Wow.
And watching it. It's called Good Evening. Their comeback after Jonghyun died. And it's just such a beautiful song. They're like on a different level as performers
Mm-hmm.
in K-pop, like legendary status. So yeah, it was super exciting for this album to come out, and it's so good. This
Good, good.
album is very good. Yeah.
I know
There's like,
you linked it, so I'll have to listen to it.
yes, yes, I definitely recommend. It's very experimental, but there's like some funk, you know?
I love a
There's some
funk
like hip
concept,
hop.
dude.
Yeah, I love like a funky song.
That's gonna be
They
so
have
good.
like their own style, and I think funk is a lot of like it's a big part of their sort of sound.
Mm-hmm.
Um but yeah, this was like so good. Like if you've listened to SHINee for a long time, you're like, "Oh, this is like a mature, these are performers."
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, really good. Um oh, I
It's
would be
very
so excited if they
exciting.
do concerts. If I can at least watch like a live stream, because I'm not able to
Mm-hmm.
fly anywhere and go to a concert. Oh my god. If EXO goes on tour, I will have a crisis. Like if they come to the States,
Mm-hmm.
I
You're
will be having a
you're
crisis.
you're just gonna need to actually go to a show.
FAFSA will have to pay for my EXO experience.
Yup.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so that's one thing. And then another thing that came out is I Am from Monsta X came out with a solo.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like really good. It's a very it's like really grungy trap hip hop vibes. It's kind of interesting.
Oh, that's
Um
fun.
so yeah, his song called Overdrive
Mm-hmm.
is pretty cool. I like it. I like it a lot. Um but yeah, that's kind of all I got. Are these releases. Of course, I'm gonna talk nonstop about the fucking EXO album that comes out, and
Yep.
other pre-release single that comes out this Friday.
Mm-hmm.
I'm mentally preparing for it. Trying to.
It's very exciting.
Yes. The other thing I
What
watched was
else?
that Barack Obama interview. I can link
Mm-hmm.
it as well. It's a good listen, like 30 minutes maybe.
Okay. I'll have to
But yeah.
watch it. I like
Yeah.
Hassan's interviews usually.
Yeah, he's pretty funny. He's good
I feel
and
like
very
he's a
like
decent interviewer.
yeah. Yeah. I think he balances the comedian side well, because I feel like when comedians do interviews sometimes it's like a little too much, like you're just trying to fucking
You're
do
just
a
trolling.
set. And actually it's funny, I used to critique Hassan of like all of his interviews and appearances seemed like a bit,
Mm-hmm.
or like a comic, like just a set
Mm-hmm.
or whatever.
Right.
But I think he's better at that now. He balances
good.
like, this is when I can be like a comedian and this is when I can be like,
Yeah.
I think, I suspect that he also secretly had a dream of being like a little journalist or something similar to that,
Mm-hmm.
especially based on his Netflix special.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like he balances that well, and he's a good interviewer, and it's funny, you know, it's entertaining too.
That's good.
But yeah. What about you?
Oh, I haven't really been listening to anything except that EXO song.
The single one, yeah.
The
That's
single. That's the what I've been listening to. The usual last podcast on the left. I've just needed some like demented bullshit
honestly,
to distract
that
from
might be
my
good for me
own.
right now.
Honestly,
Then that's why I think I need it.
You know, those
right after we talked about processing your feelings, hopefully we're like, I need a goofy podcast to ignore my feelings.
Exactly. Sometimes you just do, you know, it's fine. Like while I'm at work, I just need to like not think about it.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
I like to listen to it while I'm like putting up the milk in the dairy box. It's fun. But what I really wanted to talk about this week, and although I can't like wholeheartedly recommend it just yet because I'm barely into it, but I did want to talk about it, is this book that I got from the library and have started reading. It's called Murder Your Employer, The McMasters Guide to Homicide.
Yeah.
By Rupert
Have you been
Holmes.
reading that at work?
I have taken it to work and I think it's funny. It's a little, you know, silly, ironic moment.
Yeah.
It's by Rupert Holmes, who is the man who wrote the song Escape, also known as the Pina Colada song.
Yeah, why is the song called Escape?
I don't know why it's called
real?
Escape. Yeah, that's what it's actually called. But in it's called Escape, parentheses, the Pina Colada song.
The
Pina Colada song.
That is, you know, the one.
Yes,
it's the one you're thinking of.
It actually is the one you're thinking of. Because at first I was like, what? No, it can't be that song. It is that song. In fact, it is. I'm having a good time. I'm only like 30 pages in. This book isn't very long, but I'm really enjoying it.
Is it good? Is he a good writer?
He is. It's a bit satirical. So it's a thriller, technically, this book, but it's like funny. Like I'm having a lovely time. It's a bit of a self-aware, omniscient third-person narrator. You know?
Yeah.
But it's like the tone is so silly. Literally,
is that how Animal Farm is written? I might be making
I don't know. I have no idea how Animal Farm is written.
It's giving that, though.
Let me... I literally read the preface to Matt the other night because it was cracking me up. Okay, I'm going to read you literally the title page. The McMasters Guide to Homicide, Murder Your Employer, from the Chronicles of Dean Harbinger Harrow, the McMasters Conservatory for the Applied Arts, Dean of Admissions and Confessions, Professor Emeritus, Department of Arts and Blackmail Letters, Senior Fellow, International Guild of Murderists, edited by Rupert Holmes, illustrations, because there are beautiful pictures in this, by Anna Luisos. And there's like terms of the applied arts, which is like the glossary in the beginning of the book, and they call God, it's so funny. The terms of the applied arts: deletion, our preferred term for murder, vulgar. It's like in brackets, vulgar. Murder is the vulgar term. Although some younger staff have lately adopted omission as less austere. Note that while to delete is our verb of choice, we do not use to omit as an alternative. Like, that's kind of what you're getting from this book. It's a
Oh
little bit silly,
my god.
just like a kind of a funny take on a thriller, and I am enjoying it so far. Again, I'm not very far into it, but
It's like a comedy
I like it.
thriller book.
Yeah. I finished up my sci-fi novel that I was reading, Harrow the Ninth, and I just needed something light, and this was a good choice, honestly.
Yeah,
This was a
yeah,
good
yeah.
choice. So I love it. I'm actually kind of obsessed with it, but I didn't know, like, I didn't make the Rupert Holmes connection. I literally read the author flap and I was like, oh my God, he wrote that song. But he also is like a multi-Tony winner because he's written fucking mystery musicals
Yeah.
for Broadway. Like, he's just done so
and
many
he had
things.
his
And
one song and probably made so much fucking money from that song.
Multi-platinum song.
And he's like, okay, now I can just produce the art I want to do. Okay, I guess.
Like,
that's all we need, Jordan.
funny.
We just need one hit song. We will be set for life.
Wait, hold on. I'm gonna look it up. Okay, the album that this song is on is called Partners in Crime, which I also think is so funny.
What is... This is lore.
Oh God!
Nobody has ever thought this deeply about this pina colada man.
This man knows what he's doing and is doing it well and executing it perfectly, because his whole shtick is like silly mystery thriller, right? Like, everything he makes is perfectly attuned to the genre, and I am obsessed. I can't wait to actually get into this book. I've not been in the mental state of mind to read. I've been like a little too spacey, and I want to dedicate myself to this book.
It's been a spacey time.
Yeah, very spacey,
sure.
a bit of emotional turmoil, and I'm just like, I just need to bring it back down and like read this book. So
yeah, definitely,
it's been a treat. Cool. But I thought it was so funny that this is the man who wrote this book and that song.
That is,
so I'm gonna have a good time with
the
it.
pina colada song.
Yeah, the pina colada song. So like I said, I can't like straight up recommend this book just yet, as I'm not very far into it, but I am enjoying the tone that it's written in so far. I like a little self-aware book, you know what I mean? That I like that.
Yeah.
Part of it is like in journals. There are technically going to be 3 stories in it, I suppose, and like they're written in journals from the perspective of the people, of the deletist.
Right.
The deletists.
Yeah.
The people committing the quote unquote murders, and if they were successful or not successful. Funny. Isn't it funny? It's really silly. I really like it.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah, I like it a lot, and I think I'm going to enjoy this book. But that's all I've been doing really, is reading and working on podcast stuff. Like, in my free time, it's only been podcast and reading.
Right.
And I haven't been reading a lot lately. Instead, I've been...
If anyone out there would like to be our manager for free...
for free.
Yeah, we can't afford a manager, but...
Oh, no. But if you want to do it for free...
No, I'm kidding. Don't...
We have a Twitter.
No. And
an email. Reach out.
I'm not encouraging unethical labor right now. It's a sensitive time for that. Jordan.
It is. Everyone deserves to be paid for their art and their skills.
Everyone needs to be paid more for the most part, except for...
Everyone should be paid more.
People
except
who don't
for billionaires.
Yeah. They don't need that much money.
All right.
I think anyway, we gotta go.
we gotta go.
We got to go. Okay. But this is fun.
God.
I love this little ramble. I did not expect us to ramble this much, but
this was such a weird episode. We'll see how it shakes out.
We are.
All right.
Oh man, we'll be back next week, everyone.
We'll see you next week. Bye. Everyone.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode. If you would like to leave us a review and a rating of our show, on whatever platform you're listening on. We'd appreciate that so much. And as always, you can reach us at 2cupsbetween with the number 2 on Twitter, or you can email us at 2cupsbetween@gmail.com. Have a good rest of your week. Bye.
Bye-bye. Nice.
Yeah.
Another one in the books.
Another one in the books.
I don't know if this was our best work, but it was something.
I think it was pretty good.
I mean, I
Listen.
liked what we talked about, but I'm also like, damn, we talk too much.
I mean, it is a podcast. Have you heard of a podcast where they're not talking, Jordan? That's the point. I don't know if you listened to one of those.
Okay.
It is only talking. That is all that there is in a podcast.
Oh, we tried to make it succinct. Like, we changed the format to make it more succinct, and it didn't work.
Well, I don't know if we... Okay. I wasn't... Here's my thing. Succinct, maybe. I don't mean an actual duration, but I feel like, I wanted it to be a little more cohesive. Was this episode that? I don't know.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I think it was also kind of a nice flow. We're in a water season also. Mercury's in Cancer. Are you really expecting us to like make fucking sense right now?
I wish we did.
We can't have an astrology podcast and just ignore the astrology.
I wish we could keep it together.
No.
Despite
that's
Cancer.
That's like inauthentic. Come on, Jordan. God, Virgos are always just wanting to be fucking fake and perfect. Like, shut up. Just be yourself. Just be yourself. Oh my God, my parents are joking. Wait, no, keep this in. This is a funny story. My parents were joking. You know how my mom's taking this Ayurveda course?
Yeah.
A lot of her professors are Indian. Mm-hmm. And so my parents were making fun of her accent. My dad was like, why has your accent gotten worse after listening to them? It's so funny. This is not a joke for sensitive people. Okay. Yeah. Brace yourselves. But anyway, so they were joking about that. And I was also joking around. I was like, say three. Making her say words that are hard to say with an accent. So I was like, Dad, say 1, 2, 3. Count to 4. And he was like, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I was like, this does not sound like your voice. Why are you being so weird? My mom was like, he's doing his white voice. Oh.
Oh my God.
Like, you could just be yourself. I was like, can you just talk normally? Why are you talking like that? 1, 2, 3, 4. I was like, no one speaks like fucking Siri. Like, what's wrong with you?
Not Siri.
Oh my God, it was so funny. It was so funny.